Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Arnold, and tonight I'm going to be consciously channeling Ascended Master St Germain as he guides us on how to override universal laws in this third dimension reality so that we can stay in fifth dimension longer and actually create something more concrete for alignment and synchronicity. So up to this point, he's giving applause to everyone that's been watching this channel, how they're moving from third dimension into fifth dimension, and they're in the now moment, they're observing without judgment, and things are lining up. And it only happens for a little bit at a time, and then all of a sudden you realize you're back in third dimension, and sometimes you move back in there quite quickly. So what he's saying today is that when you move to a fifth dimension perception, so all you have to do is be in the now moment, you observe everything without judgment. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It just is. Whatever's happening is happening. And you lead with your spiritual body's consciousness. So you want your most dominant aspect of yourself to be the spiritual body, not the emotional body, physical body, or mental body. You want your spiritual body, the one in charge, leading your day. And so you're putting the intention, I'm going to move from third dimension to fifth dimension, and I'm going to create a reality that everything's in synchronicity. And he's done videos on how to do that for your reality, but he hasn't really talked about how we can change the people in our reality. It's not that we're changing them, it's we're changing our perception of them. So right now he's saying we're going into this fifth dimension perception, but in our subconscious we have all these universal beliefs. We have all these, like it's like a collective consciousness has decided what the universal laws of limitations are on planet Earth. And so to override those limits, what we have to do is start to see everything in a fifth dimension perception and put the intention that you're going to move out of the ego consciousness. So you have three aspects of the ego. So there's the id, ego, and superego. And you're just going to walk the id, ego, and superego out a back door of your head. Just tell them that they can sit outside and have a barbecue or a party on the back deck of your head, and they're not to be involved in your reality at this time. So you're putting the intention, setting boundaries with your own ego will stop running those third dimension universal laws. So it's our subconscious, all it knows is what we tell it. It doesn't know what's real and what's not real. So when you're sleeping and you're awake, in the eyes of spirit, the spiritual guides show me there's no difference. We just think there's a difference. We believe that when we're asleep, it's not real. But when we're awake, everything is real. But they're showing me there's no difference between the two. Because everything is energy, everything is one energy. Our thoughts are creating our reality as we are thinking. What the thinking is you're tapping into the ego consciousness and channeling from there. If you're in the heart, if you're in a fifth dimension perception, in the now moment, you'll channel in source energy. So we're always channeling. Are we channeling from the head or the heart? So when we're channeling from the head in our everyday experience, with that, in the ego consciousness comes the universal laws. And they're all limitations of what we can do in our reality. And so it's commanding and putting in your timeline, in this blueprint, in this now moment, that you are going to move into a fifth dimension perception and override the universal laws. You're going to set a boundary with your ego, that the ego walks out the back door of your head and no longer is in charge. Once you're there, you're going to be seeing everything in a fifth dimension perception. And the people in your reality, if there's people that are at work or school or in your community or family members, if there's people that normally trigger you, the practice that St. Germain's bringing in today is to say and put in your blueprint that I would like to start seeing them and observing them in their fifth dimension perception. So everybody creates their own world. So we all have our own world of third dimension. And we have parallel timelines of third dimension. With every thought we make, there's another aspect of us that unfolds another world. This whole world of planet Earth gets unfolded into another timeline. But there's also the fifth dimension perception of us that unfolds another world into another timeline. So right now, everybody in your reality is in third dimension, and you're saying, I'm moving to fifth dimension. So you're putting the intention that you want to see the version of them in fifth dimension too. So this includes everything, your relationships, your career, every aspect in your life where there's people, you would like to see the fifth dimension version of them so that you override the universal laws and don't drag your inner child into a situation where people are attacking you or making you uncomfortable. Your inner child can stay in your heart. She can come with you to fifth dimension, so she stays in your heart in a fifth dimension perception. So she's nice and calm. You've set the boundaries of not allowing the universal laws to be implemented into your day. You're telling your spiritual body to lead the way. You ground yourself, so just picture tree roots coming out of your feet, and you connect your spirit with the consciousness of all and just observe how your day goes, and you'll start to see that the universe begins lining things up, the universe begins serving you, you stay in your own lane, and you add that you're going to start observing everybody in your reality as a fifth dimension version of them. So you're walking into your own fifth dimension version, and you're also seeing them in a fifth dimension version. So all the people you interact with, command this to be so in your reality. So if there's somebody, for example, that is always putting you down or taking things off your desk at work or picking on you at school, then say, when I go to school today or work today, I would like to see the fifth dimension version of them. I'm not allowing a third dimension version of them into my reality. I only would like to see a fifth dimension version of them. Universe, what does this look like? Show me. So you start asking the universe questions. Show me what this would look like if I went to work today and the person that normally picks on me or gaslights me or triggers me, I'm going to see only a fifth dimension version of them, a version where they're not in the superior fed ego or an inferior fed ego. I'm going to see a version of them that they're in the now moment too. I'm going to see a version of them that is present and kind and not trying to take my power in any way. So it's consciously making the decision that you're going to override the universal laws, that the universal laws are not going to be a disruption in your reality today. So put the intention, start to see what happens. You could just pick one person to start and just keep repeating. Every time I see them, I'm only seeing the fifth dimension version of them. So you're moving your own self into your fifth dimension world, and you're moving into your perception of them in a fifth dimension world. So you're not changing them, you're changing your perception of them. All the time you're seeing them in third dimension, you're expecting to get attacked. So St. Germain's saying it's time to stop expecting to be always attacked by these people who trigger me. Instead, I'm going to expect the opposite of that. I'm going to expect that I only see them in fifth dimension. I'm going to expect that to override the universal laws and only see them in fifth dimension. I'm going to see the version of them that's not in a superior fed ego or an inferior fed ego. I'm going to see them in the now moment just as I'm in the now moment. So you're not changing them, you're changing your perception of them and then moving into that timelines. So it's expecting, attracting, and mastering the version of them in fifth dimension, and you can expect, attract, and master everything in your reality, your home, your office, your school, people at school, people at home, people at the office, people at the grocery store, people when you go shopping or to an event. Expect that all the platforms that you have, that you work on, say that you work in a computer setting and you have different platforms that you work on online, expect to see all of the versions of those platforms in a fifth dimension perception. Expect to see your workplace in a fifth dimension perception. Expect to see your home in a fifth dimension perception, and just start seeing what shows up, even if you're in a really difficult situation, because he's showing me that there's some people that have a very uncomfortable home situation and you have no choice but to go home and be in that situation. Start expecting a different version, a different reality, because you can switch into a timeline that not only you're in the 5D, but everybody around you is in 5D too. So it's expecting and commanding it. When you command, you evoke the God within you to create your reality. And it's time for us to override the universal laws and all those universal programs of limitation that we keep running subconsciously. It's time to move out of that and start seeing a new reality. So have fun with that. Start seeing what shows up. Remember, you're all alchemists. St. Germain's with you. He's working with all of you. And just call him in. He will help and guide you on your journey. And also, we've posted some new live events. They're on our website. The one coming up this weekend is the spiritual alchemy for illness. So if you are on your journey and you're having a difficult time, I had done a few videos on genes and changing those within you using spiritual alchemy. And I'm diving deeper in this one that I'm having this weekend. It's on Saturday at 2 p.m. If you can't make it, you could re-watch the recording after. And this is something you can add to your practice if you're already an energy healer or do some kind of body work. So this is diving deep into that, spiritual alchemy for healing. And we also have another live event in July, and that's an exciting one where everybody can email in what questions or ideas they have for the spiritual awakening right now, and I'll take everybody's questions and then channel St. Germain specifically for those. So I'll put the link in the description below for those two events, and I will see you next time. Have a great night.